Okay, so I got an opportunity to split round 4, which I went ahead and took because I have 10 of the 15 qualifying points I need to qualify for the Invitational, and for a 9-8 pack split, I was able to 9-8 in his favor. I was able to secure the 3 points, so I went ahead and did that. I do apologize to anybody watching the video that I didn't play the last round, but gotta look out for myself, right? I mean, I'm not getting paid to make these. I'm not LSB over here, so that puts me to where another win, another 4-0 or a pair of 3-1s in the next couple weeks, and I'll qualify for the Invitational and get some. I'm actually not going to play it, but just for qualifying, I'll get some booster packs and a couple of promos. So appreciate you bearing with me. In place of that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the deck and how it performed. Fire Slinger, you know, it's interesting because a lot of times I'll make a change and then, you know, like with the Cathari Bombers, you just never use it and it just doesn't turn out to be worth it. But Fire Slinger was definitely all that and more the game I drew it against the White Weenie deck, and it definitely earned its keep and mowed down some pretty annoying creatures for me. So I think I definitely like him, and I feel like against a deck like Familiar Storm, which I've been crushed by in the past with this deck, I feel like he's the kind of card, like, you can get him in there and like pick off their familiars, pick off their Cloud of Fairies. He can also help you race, you know, if you get him down to like 10 or 8, which is easy to do because they play like Deep Analysis. You know, he might be able to whittle him away where you can get him in burn range, get him in the crosshairs of your bolt and stuff. I definitely liked the Tendrils Blightning split. I mean, Blightning's a good card, and because I really started playing Standard seriously again during the Jund days, I have a lot of respect for Blightning. But I just feel like in Pauper, sometimes on turn 3 against a lot of decks, this deck is so far behind on the board that I would rather be putting a guy into play and getting a card that way. But I like Blightning enough that I want 2 in my 75. I just don't think I want them both in the main deck. This guy, I know a lot of people are probably wondering why I don't cut him. And he's really not that great, but against some decks at the right time, he's just a total blowout. And even when he's not that great, usually you can still, like, let's say you ninjutsu him in there and he just gets bolted or whatever, you think, well, that wasn't very good. But there's all kinds of great things to rebuy in here. I definitely wouldn't run more than 1. I think the correct number, like the correct ratio of Shinobis per 60 cards is probably about a half. Like if you had a 120 card deck, you'd probably want 1 Shinobi. Or maybe like a 100 card deck, you'd want 1 Shinobi. But they won't let me play with 6/10 of a Shinobi, so I think I'm just going to continue running the 1 copy and continue cutting him against aggro. I do cut him a lot. He's pretty easy to side out, although in control I would never side him out. But I mean, he's definitely not worse than Blightning. He's just different. He gives you access to a lot of different looks. Like, you could make the case, like, probably one of these 3 cards is better and should be all of these cards. But I don't necessarily agree. Between the Sign in Blood and the Ragers and the long, grinded out games, you get an opportunity to see a lot of cards, and it's nice to have access to a bunch of different avenues to victory. And that's kind of been my philosophy all along. For a while I was running the 1 Bone Splitter, the 1 Baron Moor, things like that. Ravenous Rats I'm kind of down on lately. I feel like the deck really does need that 2-drop slot, and it also is, like, usually you don't get the best card out of their hand with a turn 2 Rats. I mean, obviously you get the worst card, but it does soften their hand size up to where your later discard kind of damages them more. So like maybe they go down to 5 cards instead of 6, and then they draw, play a land, play a card, go down to 4, and then your Blightning or Liliana Spectre the next couple turns is just that much more devastating because they have to give up a real card. So I'm sticking with the Rats for now, although I'm definitely in the market for a 2-drop to replace either of these cards. I just don't feel like anything is better. I feel like they're both card advantage machines. They're both great with Unearth. Augur of Skulls plays a number of roles well, and yeah. So that's pretty much it for this episode of Pauper. Again, sorry I didn't play the finals, but not too sorry because that's just how it works online. And so hopefully, before the end of this weekend, I'll do some more videos and I can pick up the last 2 qualifying points I need to make the Invitational.